Oh yeah, everybody join the Chinedu TV. Not that you the happen, no. Not that you the selenge. We don't talk our mind, yo. As it be now, so we don't talk more. Mama, papa, brother, sister, even know the YouTube. Subscribe and follow Chinedu TV. Eba fukona potuno, eba fukona man. Now we'll be the voice of Africa in diaspora. Chinedu TV. Voice of Africa, where they show. Chinedu TV. Now where we go there. Chinedu TV. Gather your family, call everybody. Oh. Chinedu TV. Prison what the one who will.
Yeah, hello, my people. My name is Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity CSO. And this is Chinedu Anichi TV, streaming live from Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America. So today, we'll be having one of our big brothers in the show. And today, we'll be talking about spiritual awareness. Spiritual awareness is what we'll be talking about today. And we'll be having our brother right from England. And Mr. Paul is here to talk about spiritual awareness for us to a process of realizing who we are and becoming who we're supposed to be. So today he will be talking on spiritual enlightenment, spiritual emancipation, and everything that has to do spiritually on self-realization. So for those of you who are watching on Instagram, those on YouTube, I don't know where you're watching from, but today we'll have Mr. Paul in the show. And let me have the privilege to bring Mr. Paul in the show. Yeah, Mr. Paul, you're welcome.
I'm actually from New England.
New England. Yes.
So the United States, so across the pond.
Yeah, so Mr. Paul is from New England in the United States of America. So, and today we'll be happy to have him and we'll be talking about spiritual awareness. So, Mr. Paul, before we go on, can you tell us your background, like how you grew up? You know, sometimes we share these stories so that those who think that their present condition is their permanent destination can be encouraged, can be invigorated, and they pick the pieces of themselves and keep moving so that we can, we can congratulate them in a short while in the other side of success. So let me hear from you if you have a story to share about your background so that people will not think Mr. Paul just fell from heaven and became who he is today.
Of course. So I'm from New England, and I grew up as a witch, and I had to protect my family from a lot of dark witchcraft and ill intentions. And I could feel that a lot of people's lives were being destroyed by these energies and intentions. And so it's important, and it's always been important for me to pay close attention to what the energy is telling us. And I am an intuitive healer, and this is what I do for people. I have been basically mostly doing it for free right now, but I do have a client next week, so that might be an interesting adventure there. But my whole point and my whole focus is about really getting people to hone in on what they're feeling and really trust in their nervous system and trust in each other's nervous system, what we feel in our bodies, because that is who we are, and it's telling us something. And I think encouragement, if I were to say anything that anyone would ever listen to, I'd say encouragement is the key, is the most important thing for people to heal themselves and to know each other and to know what we're going through and to be able to connect in a resonant way and support each other so that we can encourage each other to be who we are, to be who we actually are. Um, and I feel like that is going to get the world moving in the direction that will make the world become itself and nothing less.
Yeah, you know, we are Africans. When we see men wear this kind of long earring, has it any spiritual implication or just for
Uh,
fashion sake?
yeah, so I have a lot of um, connection and resonant connection that I get from metal and from stone. So there's like little stones in here, like this is citrine. It really gets me honed and centered into my body and relaxed. Um, and this is made, and this is all upcycled material. It's not from current mining practices, so it's sustainable wares that I've made myself, and it gets me aligned with being in a sustainable, resonant connection with our world, which I find is very helpful to get me centered into my nervous system. I'm not wearing anything from like any practices I don't agree with. Big corporations, for example, which don't really care for our world or earth resources, which I find um, is very detrimental, and it has an energy, and it gets me out of resonance with who I am. Everything I buy is secondhand, um, so it's very important to me to support the earth in a resonant way, and that gets me connected into my own nervous system. And this nervous system that we have, of course, I feel is also infinitely connected with the energy field of the universe, which is a vast network, if you will, of these neural pathways or electric or electromagnetic connectivity. Um,
Okay, that's wonderful. So, you know, in Africa, when we see men wear long earrings like this, we think they are becoming feminine. And it's good you explain the spiritual implication or the metaphysical implication. And before we go on, so this journey of spiritual awareness, that you are an agent or you're a crusader, that you are carrying the message to the whole world. What is it that made you? What inspired you to choose this niche as part of what you have come to do as a career or as a vocation or as a core or a ministry?
I'm not doing this to make any sort of money. I'm doing this to help the world. And I'm not making money from this really yet, very much, but I am in the field to help people, and that's really what my message is. And I am nature before I am um, a capitalist. So I get what I get from the universe. I don't get what I get from money. Um, and I would find that that is my most one of another one of my most important messages I would put out there in the universe, and our viewers, of course, are part of the universe. Um, I also feel like uh, the feminine to me is being able to listen. It is a capacity to receive messages with a very with an awareness of a dark feminine connection, and I would say dark feminine, as in the receptiveness of the universe, and of course the light is the shining masculine counterpart to that, which we all have elements of that in all of us. not no matter if we're woman or man.
Okay, so thank you. So it's not a money-making venture. You just chose it as a fulfillment of your vocation.
I mean,
Or
if I
do
do,
you think it's a call from nature? Or do you think everybody has rights or has the tendency to do same?
what do you mean by if people have rights?
No, what I mean is that I think I chose the wrong word. So I mean, this thing you're doing, is it a special call from nature, or everybody has the tendency to develop or choose to do it? Or do you think it's a sort of special vocation or special ministry?
I feel this is a calling to my soul. It's asking me to reach out because in a resonant way, because it's who I am. It's actually coming from my nervous system. Um, I'm feeling called to bring about the oneness that we are, and not in separation. Do we exist? I feel like a lot of the time there's like a lot of stories that people have that we separate ourselves from the source of what we are. And I feel like I exist to bring back people into their nervous systems again, listening to themselves, listening to what their spirit is saying that is true, what resonates is true, about ourselves and about each other, and not rejecting each other if we're in some sort of poisonous mentality or lifestyle, but bringing us together in understanding and cohesiveness and supporting each other in our nervous systems, um, by bringing about awareness, bringing about clarity, and not about bringing demonization to people. As I don't feel that really helps.
Okay, so what are the challenges you have faced trying to communicate to the world about this oneness?
I feel like the challenge for me is connectability. I don't feel like there's any kind of in-person way to reach people at this time or in the past. I know that there's been a lot of fear and discrimination and a lot of pointing the finger at the other instead of being able to understand or resonate or go into a place of understanding or resonance where one or where we're all able to make um, a connection with one another. I think there's a polarization going on right now where, and for a long time, where I find the people in power are calling the shots. I feel like the education systems are calling the shots as far as um, making one information more important than the other. When I think all information should be considered. I don't feel like we should be um, shunning or demonizing anything. I think we should be all trying to understand where it all comes from instead of feeling or making believe that um, we don't have a voice just because we are in detachment. I feel like we all have a voice, and I feel like that's an important thing.
That's wonderful. So, are you a Christian?
I actually grew up Catholic. I
You a
was
Christian?
confirmed, yeah, I was confirmed Catholic, and then I decided
I'm not
to
hearing
switch
you.
because just because I didn't feel like it was in resonance with me. I didn't have the connections to myself and to the world in a resonant way. So I feel that I was losing a lot of meaning by being Catholic. I felt like I wasn't feeling a connection there. I felt like I was doing things because other people wanted me to do them. I wasn't actually understanding the world in a way where I knew myself. I was knowing an image, I was knowing a concept, I was knowing a construct. I wasn't really feeling um, the world in the way that it truly exists.
What are the elements? Is there a procedure for spiritual growth or awareness, or it just comes randomly? Is there processes or one should undergo, or a chastisement, or a spiritual process or protocol for one to attain the level of enlightenment?
I feel it is all of our birthright to know our spirituality. I feel like it's the most intimate thing we could have with each other, with ourselves, and it's the only source from which I feel that we can actually draw the actual truth. I feel like proving ourselves or war or making ourselves feel more right than the other, perhaps. I feel that's um, sort of negating the truth. It's sort of like running around what we're really here for, which is to connect, which is to bring about connection, which is to bring about understanding and clarity. I don't feel that there's any rites to initiation or rites of passage to that world. I feel we all have the capability to connect with ourselves.
Can you be more audible?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you not hear me?
Good, please. I love that. So, among the young people, so what are the efforts you are making to bring the consciousness of this enlightenment so that it becomes a very practical way of life, so that all of us can achieve the oneness of which is the goal at the end of the day? What efforts are you making? Where have you gone? Which processes have you undertaken?
So, what processes I'm involved in? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, what I mean is that, like, what are the programs you have put across to make sure that this awareness is growing globally?
So I have my own podcast, which I'm trying to make an awareness um, for the world um, to see themselves by. I somewhat want to be like a mouthpiece or a mirror for that part of ourselves that we often ignore. Um, and I feel like um, there's this resonant, beautiful connection that we could all have here. And I feel like that's really going to bring the world back to itself. And um, I don't feel, like I said, I don't feel like there's any kind of initiation or process in particular that gets us to that place, but a feeling of the truth. It's a very visceral type relationship or feeling that I feel is so important for all of us to have, regardless of our denomination, regardless of our religion, regardless of our spiritual awareness. I feel that encouragement is the key to gaining more of that awareness. I think discouragement is always going to shove us into a box, if you will, and it's not going to get us to be able to be aware at all. Um, so I hope that answers a little bit of that.
Okay,
But
let me see. Let's have a little break and see some questions from the comment section. Those of you who are watching, okay, I think I have to put the comment so that you can be seeing it. Are you seeing the comment by the side?
okay.
Okay, so for those of you who are watching on Facebook or Instagram, please, can you put up a question for him? If you have a question, please, this is the time to put up your question so that please put up a question for him. Yeah.
Hi, so I see a lot of different things here, but well, actually, they're not questions. I don't really know. I'm sorry, I can't read that. I don't know what it's saying. Is there any questions that you would like me to answer?
Let's talk our talk. Africa boys in diaspora. Chinebani GTV. Voice of the voiceless, yo. Chinebani GTV. Make we talk our talk, yo. Chinebani GTV. Nobody can talk our talk for us, yo. Chinebani GTV. Africa's a rise. Time don't reach, yo. Make we talk our talk, oh. Oh yeah, everybody join the Chinebani GTV. Not that it happen, no. Not that it is a language. We don't talk our mind, yo. As it be, now so we don't talk more. Mama, papa, brother, sister, even know the youth, oh. Subscribe and follow Chinebani GTV. Eba fukona potuno, eba fukona man. Now we'll be the voice of Africa in diaspora. Chinebani GTV. Voice of Africa, where they show. Chinebani GTV. Now where we go there. Chinebani GTV. Gather your family, call everybody, oh. Chinebani GTV. Prison what don't want no way,
well, I have not seen any question from them, so we can just move on. I wanted them to ask. I've gone to Instagram, no question from Instagram, no question from Facebook. They are just saying welcome, welcome, positive vibes, no questions. So, I don't know why.
That's
So,
fine. No questions required.
so I think we'll go on whatever we're doing.
I've seen some comments, though. They were encouraging, so that was good.
Okay, no question. So, the essence of our podcast is to give the voiceless a voice. The essence of this is to give Africa a voice. So, are you hearing me?
I'm trying to hear you. Sorry.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, what I'm saying is that the essence of what we are doing is to give Africans voice. So
Right.
anything we are doing here, we relate it to how it will affect Africans. So in this your spiritual enlightenment journey, so how do you intend to bring it down to Africa? You know, you are very, very traditional people. And our way of worship, our way of spiritual procedure is completely different from this procedure. So how do you plan to carry this message to Africa or
I
African
would say,
communities?
no matter what spirituality
Please be
or
louder,
spiritual,
Paul.
can you hear me?
Just be louder a bit.
Okay. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So, no matter what spiritual practice anybody has, I feel the message is to really hold space, and it's a terminology that's often talked about in this day and age, in the New Age community, in the spiritual community, in the alternative community, where you're able to listen and support the relationships of the other person, no matter what's happening or going on with them. So you're able to make a connection. So you're able to make a resonant connection and understand them. I feel like that's a very important message where you have an actual bridge. You're building a bridge so that you're actually able to access the other person rather than shooting arrows at them or destroying them in any kind of way, but being able to support their nervous system while they're going through something. Um, and and while I'm talking right now, I'm holding space for this channel, everyone watching on this channel, um, and just holding space for anyone um, who's watching this. And I feel like that's um, going to open up a channel of communication where people are going to be able to understand one another and connect the way I feel that we were meant to connect from birth, really. And I feel like that's so important in this world, the way it is in this day and age. Um, I feel oftentimes people get political or they get narcissistic or whatever's going on with them, whatever challenges that they may have, um, whatever spiritual awareness that they may have, whatever spiritual unawareness that they may have, having the ability to really connect with one another through that holding space, I find is just so important. Like while I'm communicating with you right now, or even myself, even in regards to myself, I'm holding space for myself to feel the emotions I'm feeling, to understand what I'm going through, and being there for myself through all of it. And doing that with one another as well. Instead of, you know, having politics solve our problems for us, which is unhealthy, unsustainable relationships and energy sources. It's very, very unsustainable relationships where I find the world loses all of its energy, all of its communication, all of its authenticity to war or political climates where we're not really communicating. We're just sort of having tug of war, and we're not really understanding each other or understanding how we can make our lives better or enrich our lives in any way. It's really getting down to I have someone in front of me and I'm willing to to hold space for them, or I'm willing to understand where they're coming from no matter where they're coming from.
When I invited you to this platform, what came to your mind? What was running in your mind?
Well, I mean, I was sort of feeling like, what am I actually going to comment on? How am I going to come across? What is he going to ask me? um, am I going to be able to be effective in my communication? Um, Depending on what I'm going through, because I'm not perfect as well. So, um, really running through, um, getting into a resonant state where I'm able to connect to reality and to connect to truth and not my own storyline, where I'm able to receive messages from my spirit, from the universe, from being divine, rather than having a story of separation usually. The story to me always usually separates. It doesn't really bring understanding.
Okay, now that you are in this show, how do you feel coming to this show? And what
Pretty
will you
good.
tell the world about African voice in diaspora?
It's a wonderful way for people to connect, and I feel there's a nice casual vibe where people are able to understand what's going on. I feel like a lot of the time when we get um, too professional or perfect um, with our message or our communication, we're not able to connect as people um, to what's going on. So, to what's really being communicated, or having the ability. And I feel like this is the most important part of this is having the ability to make a connection with our teacher rather than just listening to the rhetoric, and being able to understand in our nervous system what are they communicating, what are they getting across. Are we able to understand on a visceral level what they're saying? I feel like that's so important, and I feel like your channel, in some ways, I feel is resonant in that way. It's able to allow people to communicate on a felt level or a known level rather than just, oh, okay, this is what they're saying, and having it not make much sense. Um, on a visceral level where your soul is literally telling you this is correct because it's coming from the soul. Um, I find that occurs with channels that are not, perfected or edited, to the point where they're just, perfect or a perfect message being brought across. It's being understood on a deeper level. And I feel that's what brings people together. I feel like that's what brings understanding in the world.
For coming to the show. Thank you for coming to teach us spiritual enlightenment. I want you to summarize your message, the message you want to give the world. I want you to summarize it now so that I can put it out as one. So, what is your message for the world in this spiritual enlightenment and awareness that you have decided to follow as your calling or what we call ministry?
Sure. I feel that my message is to reach out to one another with a willingness to understand instead of casting people out in the shadow for any political purpose, for any religious purpose, for any purpose over land or disagreements over land or resources. Understanding one another's trials and tribulations as if it was our own. We can feel that. We can feel the importance of that. And I feel that's so imperative in the world today. And holding space, I feel like that's a very important tool. There's a great lack of mental emotional health in the world, and I feel like that is the most important thing right now for people is to get it back into their nervous system, to get back into what they know is true, to get back into um, who they really are and not what we think is important, not the stories that we may make up about something, looking in the mirror and just being able to connect to ourselves in a divine way and being able to go outside and connect to others in a divine way in resonance, where we're able to hold space for them no matter what they're doing, no matter what's going on with them, being able to hold space and being like, I'm there for you, no matter who it is, no matter who it is.
Does this process, finally, does this process go with a concept of non-violence?
What was that last word? I'm sorry. It was a term.
No, non-violence.
Nonviolence. Okay.
Does it go
Um,
with it?
yes. So for me, um, nonviolence is the only answer, I feel. Um, it gets us in tune with who we are. We don't really need anything from anyone else. All we have is ourselves and our own relationships. So um, I feel like nonviolence is the only way to live, the only way to understand, the only way to truly bring about coherence in the world, the only way to bring about peace in the world, is through understanding one another or being willing to, even if we don't, being willing to understand one another is going to bring about peace in the world. And we do truly care on a visceral level, on a nerve ending level. We do truly care about one another. Ultimately, we may have stories and we may have things going on in our lives that disconnect us from that having that relationship or experience. But that's my main message is nonviolence, of course. There's no need for it. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Mute.
Uh,
I said, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for taking time to be here. Paul Barboza, and from New England, United States. So you are welcome. This is Chinedu Anichi TV, the African voice in diaspora. So we are watched across 5 major social medias now. Live, we're live on Instagram, we're live on YouTube, we're live on TikTok, we're live on X, and we're live on Facebook. So you have been heard across these 5 major social medias. So thank you for coming. But before you go down, can you give a shout out to any of your friends, your mentors, spiritual mentors, our audience, even myself, for creating the
of
platform?
course. You know, I definitely encourage your channel and I encourage what you do here. And um, Mia Magic, of course, is another mentor that I love. And, it's a feminist approach to things, but I feel that she has a very accurate or resonant view on things. Um, um, I've done this. I've brought myself to this um, reaching out to the world. So I can thank myself for that, I guess. I guess I thank my parents for the cell phone service that I have in order for this, to be made possible. um, but I did buy my phone, which is good. That was years ago. Um, and um, Living as Myself podcast, of course, that's my channel, and I feel like that's going to be able to reach out and help people. And um, yeah, that would be about all I could say about that.
Okay, thank you for coming to the show, Mr. Paul Gobra. So my people had a brother, Mr. Paul Barboza is here today talking about spiritual enlightenment and what can bring peace to the world by attaining reality and not just the peripheral assessment to human spirituality. So thank you for the enlightenment. Thank you for coming to the show.
Of
My
course,
name remains Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity CSO, and this is African Voice in Diaspora. Thank you for coming to the show.
of course. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, my people. You're seeing we had Paul Barboza today from New England, the United States. So he spoke about spiritual awareness, peace, and attaining internal disposition underlined by peace and tranquility, which is a sign that you really is of God. And he advocates for non-violence and loving one another. So I know you must have picked something from this. This is what we have had. I promise you, despite my challenges that I left my location for a new location, but within every weekend, I will be coming to you back to back. So across the social medias, share the live video, comment, view, and here you are. Remember, my name is Chinedu Amici, your one and only celebrity CSO. And we are here. We rise by lifting others. So as you leave this show, try and touch somebody's life today. All right? God bless you. Bye.